How long has it been since you sang your heart out to a classic 80s hit, hairbrush in hand, pretending the living room was your personal concert stage? The echo of synthesizers, the pulsing drum machines, and those unforgettable anthems. Music in the 1980s wasn't just something you listened to, it became the soundtrack of our lives. A single note could spark 1,000 memories, neon lights bouncing off mirrored balls, the scent of freshly popped popcorn at roller rinks, and friends belting out tunes until the neighbors begged for mercy. Whether you favored power ballads or pop chart toppers, there was a song for every mood and every moment. Karaoke was a ticket back to those carefree times when you didn't care if you missed a note, and joy was measured in laughter, not perfection. Can you recall the rush of singing your favorite chorus with friends, the feeling that for just those few minutes you were a superstar? Let's dust off those vocal cords and relive the sing-along magic that made the 80s such an unforgettable era. When you think about singing your favorite 80s hit in front of family or friends, it may seem as though the concept of karaoke was always part of American culture. But the story of how karaoke made its way into our lives and became a mainstay of 80s fun started oceans away and involved more twists than the chords in a power ballad. The journey begins in 1970s Japan, where the seeds of sing-along culture were first planted, before taking root on American soil and blossoming into a phenomenon that defined gatherings and parties throughout the decade. Karaoke, the word itself, comes from the Japanese kara, meaning empty, and oke as a shortened form of orchestra, literally an orchestra without a lead singer. The origin story is as humble as it is charming. A musician named Daisuke Inoue, working in Kobe, Japan, found himself constantly being asked by patrons to record backing tracks for their favorite tunes so they could sing along when the band was off stage. In 1971, he cobbled together what would become the very first karaoke machine. Using an 8-track player, a microphone, and a small amplifier. He made it possible for anyone, regardless of musical skill, to step into the spotlight. Inoue's invention wasn't patented, an unbelievable oversight considering its global impact, though he was later honored with the Ig Nobel Prize for his contribution to music and entertainment. Imagine for a moment the first unsuspecting bar customer stepping up to sing along to an instrumental track. No live band, no backup, just the thrill and terror of going it alone. Ask yourself, would you have had the nerve to be the first, knowing your voice was suddenly the main act? Karaoke quickly caught fire in Japan, spreading from smoky barrooms to upscale lounges and eventually to just about every city street corner within a few short years. Dedicated karaoke boxes, little private rooms with a machine, a screen, and lyrics became as common as ramen shops. Singing together became less about performance and more about participation, camaraderie, and joy. But how did this quirky pastime leap from Japan to the United States, especially considering the cultural gap? It turns out timing was everything. By the late 1970s, Japanese electronics companies like Pioneer and JVC developed the Laserdisc, which allowed for better quality video and audio playback. Suddenly, karaoke machines weren't confined to audio tapes. They could incorporate scrolling lyrics, music videos, and multiple songs on a single disc. When Laserdisc karaoke arrived in Hawaii in the late 70s, it struck a chord with the large Japanese expatriate community who wanted a taste of home. Karaoke bars proliferated across Honolulu and eventually caught the attention of the mainland, especially in cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York. Now picture yourself in an early 80s American living room. The VCR is humming, the TV is the centerpiece, and families are experimenting with new technology at home. It wasn't long before enterprising electronics companies realized there was a market for home karaoke, not just as a party novelty, but as a form of family entertainment. Early home karaoke machines started to appear in department stores alongside the ubiquitous boombox, promising instant fun and hours of sing-along delight. Some machines even came with cassette tapes or vinyl records, complete with lyric booklets, a far cry from the scrolling on-screen words we'd come to expect later on. Can you remember the moment you first saw a karaoke machine in someone's house, or maybe at a local party? Maybe the sight of a friend nervously clutching a microphone set your heart pounding, or perhaps the anticipation of taking your own turn filled you with equal parts dread and excitement. It was a simple concept, but it broke down barriers. Suddenly, you didn't have to be a professional or even a decent singer. All you needed was the courage to try. Some families even crafted their own makeshift karaoke setups, placing a cassette recorder next to the stereo so they could mute the vocals and sing along, a charming bit of musical improvisation that feels unmistakably 80s. But let's not forget the other key ingredient that made this all possible, the music itself. The 1980s was an explosive era for pop and rock, filled with larger-than-life personalities and unforgettable hooks. After all, what good is a karaoke machine if there's nothing worth singing? Songs like Don't Stop Believin', Total Eclipse of the Heart, and Wake Me Up Before You Go Go lent themselves perfectly to group sing-alongs, combining catchy melodies with lyrics just begging to be belted out. You might not believe this, but industry insiders at the time said that certain 80s hits saw their lifespans extended by years because of karaoke exposure, turning nice chart runs into something approaching musical immortality. One little-known fact, even major television networks got in on the act. In 1983, NBC piloted a late-night show called The Singing Bee, where ordinary folks would fill in missing lyrics to popular songs, a precursor to the interactive musical formats of later decades. It's no coincidence these formats found fertile ground in the 80s, when music was communal and everyone was invited to join the chorus. Here's something to ponder. Which 80s anthem was your gateway to karaoke? Was it Madonna's Like a Virgin, Prince's Purple Rain, or Journey's Faithfully? Or were you that rare friend who dared to tackle Michael Jackson, Moonwalk and all? Those early days of karaoke didn't just fill the room with melody, they gave everyone, no matter your walk of life, a moment in the limelight. Whether you were the shy observer or the showstopper, karaoke made room for you. And if the early 80s were about laying the groundwork, what came next would be unlike anything music lovers had experienced before. The karaoke craze was set to collide with emerging technology and the rapidly changing music industry, fueling a sing-along revolution that would spill out of houses and into bars, nightclubs, and community centers across America. So, how did technological innovation supercharge this sing-along sensation? And, in what ways did it transform the way we sang, celebrated, and connected with each other? The answers lie in the next chapter, where the marriage of music and microchips took center stage. As we come to the end of our journey through the world of 80s karaoke, it's hard not to smile thinking back on those vibrant nights and sunlit afternoons when music brought us all together. From its humble beginnings in Japanese barrooms, karaoke found a special kind of magic within American living rooms and party halls, blending cultures and creating unforgettable moments of joy. We've reminisced about the arrival of home karaoke machines, those clunky yet endearing devices with lyric booklets and tinny microphones that nevertheless made us feel like stars. We talked about the legendary anthems and how singing together became a bridge, uniting friends, families, and even strangers with nothing more than a familiar tune and the courage to take the spotlight. The 1980s didn't just provide music for these moments, It gifted us a soundtrack that lives on in our memories, full of catchy melodies and bold optimism. Reflecting on those days, it becomes clear that karaoke offered something deeper than just a chance to belt out our favorite hits. It was about community. It didn't matter if your voice cracked or if you missed every note. What mattered was being part of a shared experience that sparked laughter and forged bonds. The living room transformed into a stage, and for a few shining minutes we let go of worries, becoming the lead in our own neon-tinged music video. The echo of those sing-along nights follows us still, a gentle reminder of simpler times marked by shoulder pads, cassette tapes, and a sense that anything was possible if you simply committed to the chorus. Karaoke taught us to cheer each other on, to celebrate imperfection, and to savor the pure joy of making music together, however off-key. So, as you think back on your own karaoke memories, what favorite song brought your gatherings to life? Was it the soaring chorus of Livin' on a Prayer, the playful cheer of Girls Just Want to Have Fun, or maybe a ballad that tugged at the heartstrings when the night grew quiet? Did you have a go-to duet partner, or were you the one who rallied reluctant friends to join in for a rowdy group performance? These memories are more than just melodies. They're chapters in the larger story of our lives. Why not take a few minutes to revisit those moments? Share in the comments your most cherished 80s karaoke memories, the songs that still make you smile, the friends you sang with, and any stories that captured the spirit of those magical nights. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more journeys through the music and memories of the past. If you know someone who'd love a walk down this musical memory lane, share this video with them. You might just inspire another impromptu sing-along. And remember, no matter how much time passes, the music of the 80s is always waiting for you. All it takes is a familiar intro, a few brave notes, and suddenly you're back where you belong, among friends with a song in your heart and the world at your feet. The memories we make when we sing together never truly fade. They just become the echoes that shape who we are. So keep the music alive, and the next time you hear that irresistible beat, don't be afraid to join in and sing it like it's 1985.